pastors are sleeping with men. Some are sleeping with women. Not because they love them, but because that single intimate act is part of a demonic covenant that fuels their so-called power. I was deep in it. I know what I'm talking about. What happens in those bedrooms is not ordinary. It is a spiritual warfare disguised as intimacy. And every time they release into you, they mark you. They steal from you, and their altar gains strength. I didn't grow up wanting to become a pastor. No. I wanted peace. I wanted protection. I was tired of being invisible. So when the man came to our family one night and told my mother that I had that spiritual calling, I believed him. We all did. He said I had a light on me. That I was chosen. But I didn't know that light came from the fire of hell. I was just 19 when they took me to a mountain to fast. 3 days turned to 7. On the 6th night, something entered me. I felt it. It wasn't God. It was raw. Cold. Like I had been opened, spiritually violated. They didn't say Jesus. They didn't preach salvation. All they kept chanting was power, power, power. When I came down from that mountain, I wasn't the same. People started falling when I prayed. I could speak into people's lives and they would break down crying. I thought it was God. I told myself it was God. But inside, I knew something wasn't right. The man who initiated me, he told me, power must be fed. Power must be satisfied. That's when I learned making out or being in an intimate with someone was the altar. And every partner was a sacrifice. He said, if you want the church to grow, you must connect. So I asked him how. He said, get intimate with the ones who carry glory. When you release in them, their star becomes yours. And they will never forget you, because their soul has been marked. I laughed. I thought it was a joke. Until I tried it, and it worked. That was the day I stopped being a servant of God, and became a servant of darkness wearing his name. The problem is that, these women or men who their prophets and prophetess engage with them, they think it's just having a romantic or intimate time with them. But it's not. It's a transaction. A ritual. An offering. And for me, anytime I laid with someone, whether it was a choir girl, an usher, a young man who trusted me, I wasn't seeking pleasure. I was fulfilling an obligation. I was feeding an altar. Before a big program, I would connect with someone young, spiritually gifted. You can see it on them. It's not beauty. It's a kind of light. A pure presence. That's who we target. Once you release into them, spiritually, they become yours. Their favor starts feeding your altar. That's how our churches grow. That's how the crowd increases. You are using their grace to fool your anointing. Some of your pastors chooses to enjoy with men, not because they are attracted, but because the covenant demands it. Same-gender intimacy creates a deeper seal. That's what they told me. And after every act, I felt more powerful. There are nights I would see visions after sleeping with someone, dreams where I was being crowned, handed scepters, shown lands and congregations. And when I woke up, the person I used would be weaker, lost, confused. That's how I knew it worked. I destroyed many lives. Some never recovered. But I told myself it was ministry. That they were honored to carry my seed. I even made them feel like they were chosen. And the worst part is that, they believed me. And you, the person listening to me now, even does same. I can boldly tell you that, there are altars being built with orgasms. There are churches growing, not from fasting and prayer, but from stolen destinies exchanged in bedrooms and ghost houses. You call it intimacy. They call it impartation. But the spirit behind it is anything but holy. You see, I didn't wear rings. I wore souls. I didn't collect offerings. I collected destinies. And every time I finished with someone, my altar smiled. And don't go about thinking a pastor or prophet who is not wearing rings or anything you suspect is holy than the one wearing it. The system is being changed so that you don't get to know what is going on. The church would scream. The women would fall. The men would run to the altar. They called me pauper. They said I carried oil. But every time I went home, I couldn't sleep. There was a noise inside me, a haunting silence. A kind of torment that no amount of money, intimacy, or fame could silence. I'd wake up in cold sweat. Sometimes I'd see their faces, the ones I used. I'd hear them crying in dreams. Some calling my name. Others just staring at me, like I stole something. And I did. I stole their light. There were times I tried to stop. I'd go a week or months without touching anyone. I'd fast. I'd pray. I'd lay on the altar and cry. But then, the church attendance would drop. The offerings would dry up. The presence would vanish. That's when you get to know. I was trapped. That power wasn't from God. And it demanded to be fed. I began taking pills to sleep. I drank secretly to numb myself. I became paranoid. I saw enemies everywhere. Even in my own choir. I'd preach about heaven, but I felt like hell lived inside me. I'd lay hands on people to deliver them, but I was the one chained. I started hearing a voice. Not the one that called me to power, this was different. Gentle. Sad. Holy. It asked me just one thing, is this what I called you to do? The truth is that, it's in the silence, after the noise, after the intimacy, after the show, that truth begins to whisper. And if the soul is still alive, it will hear. I was supposed to lead people to God. But I had become the gate to their destruction. And for the first time, I wanted out. Not for power. Not for pity. But for my soul.
You see, my brothers and sisters, this is how it starts for many. A genuine hunger, hijacked by men who serve something else. A light that was meant to shine, turned into a flame that burns others. And the most dangerous thing is that, they don't come like the devil advocates they are. They come pretending to know the light. They shout in tongues. They hold Bibles. But behind closed doors, they are conducting rituals with human bodies. And I will say that, sin doesn't always break you in a day. Sometimes it rewards you first, then it begins to rot you from the inside. This is Dangerous African Confession HD, and what you just heard is not pure from somewhere deep from his heart. It's not drama. It's the raw truth from someone who was once behind the veil, deep in the shadows of spiritual deception, wearing the title of Man of God, but carrying powers no one dared question. In this episode, we uncover a disturbing reality, how intimacy with church members, same-gender acts, and spiritual covenants are being used by certain pastors to gain and sustain power. This is not just immorality. It's spiritual manipulation. It's witchcraft on the altar, and it's happening more than you think. In the past few days, there have been some changes even in the team here. And it resulted in we having to try something else hoping it will work. But all we can say is that, thank you for staying with us and we hope to serve this community well and better. Stay with us, hit the subscribe button, the like button and the notification bell and become a part of this growing family. Thank you and see you again in the next episode.